Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good. Reasonably fair is not a bad thing. We've got some returning faces. We've got some new folks. We've got 3 visitors, maybe a 4th one. Okay. So life is good. 5th one. Grab a seat, sir, if you would. Rest and relax. And we're off to a good start in 2024. On this, and also to the visitor or to the members and visitors online. We start out with an introduction of who we are, name and call sign. So, Virgil, you want to start? You want me to start?
I'll go. I'm Virgil, K7VZ.
Randy, K7NNT.
Brian, W7JET.
Bill, Alpha Alpha 4 Quebec.
Melanie, AG4YL.
Mike, N7MW.
Lee, KY7M.
Steve, K7SP.
Gary, K8BN.
Steve, N7TX.
Tom, NQ7R.
Bob, K7BHM.
Jeff, K0UU.
Bill, N9EIV.
Joe, W8JH.
Paul, WB0ZRD.
Ron, WA0KDS.
Gary, KC7CS.
Ned, AA7A.
Jim, KC1BB.
And I'm John, N7NWL. I'm president of the group. And so if something goes wrong, it's my fault. If something goes right, then it's everybody else's credit. And before we move on, I'd like to do introductions with name and call signs from the folks who are attending via Zoom.
This is Bob, NA7RH.
Brad, November Alpha 2 uniform with COVID.
Mike, KC7V.
Yeah, Mike, K7ING without COVID.
Wes, N7WS.
Evan, you're up.
Evan, KK7MGL.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Tommy? Whiskey Echo 7 Kilo. Tommy, you there? Well, Tommy, WE7K, is also showing that he's logged in. So we'll put him down also. And that takes care of that part. Anybody else on the Zoom? Slides, Virgil, please. Okay, this is our introductory slide. Not new information. It's real basic, real simple. I'm the president. We have new officers effective January the 1st of this year. Virgil, KC7V, is our returning vice president. K7, I wrote it down, right? Whatever. You answered. We're good. You're 59K guy. Yeah, okay. That works. Tom Boza, NE7X, is our new treasurer. He's not here tonight because he sustained an injury from a fall of some sort at home, and he's dealing with surgeons and not surgeons and things like that, but he's our new treasurer. New secretary is Jim, KC1BB. And our new director at large is going to be Steve Thompson, N7TX, and he's a director at large for 2024 until the end of 2026. And then returning or staying director at large is Steve Protus, K7SP. And Bill Poole, AA4Q, is our past president. Agenda is going to be fairly short today. What we normally do for our visitors, guests, and new members is we do the program part first, because if we have out of state or different time zone presenters, we like to accommodate them. Then we take a break. We have cookies and bottled water. Tonight, somebody generously brought Oreos in not one, but 3 flavors. So fight appropriately. After the break, and it'll be about 15, 20 minutes-ish, then we'll get into the business portion. We've got some old business stuff to go over, some new business stuff that's not real in depth, treasurer's report, activities on the air for the visitors and guests and members. CADXA has an activities on the air award program that Tom NQ7R has been the administrator for about a decade or so. And what it does is it tracks different contact counts and numbers in different categories. And then at the end of the year, which is tonight, we have a presentation of who won, who came in second. We go over all the slides. They'll be up on the screen. I had intended to get the certificates finished for presentation tonight. I did not get that done because other things are going on, but they will be ready for handing out at the February meeting. So with that, Virgil, do you want to take over the program or you want me to? Okay.
Yeah, so tonight we thought we did this last year and we thought we'd try it again, but just kind of pass the mic, open forum. So if everybody wants to give a minute, 2 minutes, talk about either cover, what you did last year, any exciting, memorable DX, any 2024 goals, just share for a minute or two about whatever you've been up to. So I guess we had a few guys ahead of time send photos to me, or I solicited for photos. Let me see if I can get these to work. So I'll go ahead and, there we go. Does everybody on Zoom see my house?
Yep.
It's the photo.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So last year, January 1st, 2023, had a few friends over, and I've got a 43-foot vertical in the front yard that I've been using for several years. But I had been working the whole previous fall. I've got an MA40 crank up tower. We ended up I put a hex beam on the top of it. And so, this was January 1st last year was, my hex beam and tower went up. So that was how I started the year. That's a video. So then, some other exciting things in the year was, Evan, my son's, school break just happened to align with Visalia. He had, school had 2 administrative days off on Thursday and Friday. So, we took that as a sign and decided to, as a family, to go up to Visalia and go to the DX convention. And so, it was kind of late. It was kind of late by the time we decided we could go or figured this out. So it was like early March. I was like, well, you can't go up there if you're not a ham or don't have your own call sign. And he's been, since he's been 4 or 5 years old, he's been operating with me, but hadn't got licensed himself. So I guess long story short, he crammed hard for a month. On Wednesday night, we went over to the Thunderbird Club, had a test session, and he passed his technician. We drove up Thursday to Visalia. His call sign was issued Friday morning, and we went to the convention all weekend and had a good time. And then at the Saturday, I think it was Saturday night, he won the youth award as the only youth under 16 at the event. But pretty good prize. He ended up with an ICOM 7300. So this was the day we got home. We hooked it up, and he's on my hex beam there. So he got priority antenna and was all excited that he's been using the radio and operating with me. A quick follow up to that then is I was like, well, now that you've got that 7,300, you've got to at least get your general. So my wife in 2007, my wife and I got licensed as technicians, and she never, I went ahead and got my extra or general and extra, but she stayed as a technician until this past June. Both Marcia and Evan got their general license. And then the other exciting thing we did this year is with Randy here, James N7 ELL, Marcia, Evan, and I, we rented a house over in Parker and set up antennas and operated the Arizona QSO party as the multi-operator expedition. And Evan and I had won the category with John up at his cabin near Payson the year before. So I was set on at least making an attempt to defend our title. And so we had a pretty decent work the radio all day Saturday and ended up winning the category again. Plus activating La Paz County, which hadn't been activated the year before, or it's infrequently had been activated. So that's why we ended up targeting Parker, was making sure a lesser activated county was on the air. So that was my 2024 in a nutshell. We'll pass the mic then.
Well, that's a hard act to follow there. I don't know. Well, I'm in that picture, so that was one of my highlights was working this contest. I'm not a big contester, but it was fun, and it's always good to get out. And I guess my goals this year to do more outdoor activity, operating outdoors, soda, POTA stuff. Just that's kind of my thanks, kind of my goal for this year. But thank you.
Let's see, Brian W7JET. So last year was a pretty good year. A lot of fun, a lot of contesting. I hit 280 confirmed on DXCC, and I still need 24 more on 160 meters. So hopefully I'll be able to finish that up in about a week. Got a participated in a couple of the VHF contests. That picture is the September VHF contest from the helipad on Mount Ord, and did okay. This year, the VHF contest, at least for September, there were no rovers in Arizona, so that really affected the score for me. Normally, I have a pretty good score operating from the top of the hill, but didn't go so well. Didn't go as well this year. I think I came in third in the country. Usually, I clean up in that category for QRP portable. The station's coming along. I got a receive antenna up, which has been life-changing on 80 and 160 meters. That picture back there, the previous one, that's the 222 and up contest from on Towers Mountain. And then you can see my little 817 there, and I was doing some HF too, so I have my Hard Rock 50 amplifier running on that. And then I think that's just a picture of the station there, and that's the current version of the station. If you see that W7JET on the air sign, my wife made that for me, and that turns on when I turn the antenna switch on. She's a general now, and has a 590S that we set up on her end of the house with a dipole, and she's got 27 countries confirmed now, so she's having a good time doing it, and she's gotten into it quite a bit. In fact, if you go to the Ham Fest this year for the Superstition Club, you can complain directly to her, because I think she's the one running it this year. So send it over to Bill.
Wait for the camera. Hello, camera. Okay, this Bill, Alpha 4 Quebec. I did very little ham radio this year. I had a pretty miserable year at work, which used up a lot of my attention span. In January, I actually got on the air quite a few times. I worked Winter Field Day, which is kind of becoming one of my favorite contests, if you call it a contest. I was up in the mountains off Seven Springs Road, within sight of the radar tower that everybody does. Not everybody, but occasionally gets activated as a soda peak. I forget, what's that one called? Humboldt, yeah. So I was several miles north of there, but within sight of it. at kind of an elevated spot. I've gone to several years in a row, and there's pictures of it on my QRZ page if anybody's curious. But it was freezing cold. No snow, but it was really cold, especially when the sun went down. I did make a mistake on it. In that one, you get your multiplier is your band mode count. So I could have doubled my score just by making one sideband contact on each band. But I was CW only this year, which I prefer. But what else did I do? I think I did the RTTY contest from home. And I have lousy stealth antennas. That's any operating from home with an S9 noise with all the electronics in everybody else's house. Every single light bulb's got a switching power supply in it nowadays. So we have an S9 noise level anytime you're operating from home. And I think I also worked some of the ARRLDX contest. And then I didn't turn the radio on again until summer field day when I went up with the group formerly known as Freescale. I think we used the K7 mic radio Fox call, and I operated. I think I was CW only. I don't remember if I put on sideband or not, but I was 40 and 15 meters. So that was a lot of fun. And then I don't think I've turned on a radio hardly at all since then. I did win yet another Bio-Enno battery, so I better start doing some more outdoor stuff. And we got a guy at work that's interested in getting into it, so I'm going to have to grab a hold of him and take him out and mentor him a little bit. So maybe I should find time to get into it a little bit more. But anyway, so not much to report. So I'll pass the mic to the next person.
Hi, my name is, again, it's Melanie, AG4YL. I used to be very active in amateur radio starting in 2015 for about 6 years until life happened. So this is 2024, so I'm looking forward to starting and doing something new. And coming here to this meeting was a good beginning. And those Bio-Enno batteries are great. Changed my world. When I started doing NPOTA back in 2016, I lugged around a deep cycle automotive battery. So I will repeat, those Bio-Enno batteries are really great. And hopefully we can start playing some more with that. I just look forward to getting back on the air, getting back active again, playing in some contests. I love contests. I love sideband. 20 and 40 are kind of my things. And with everything on the upswing, I'm looking forward to getting back and getting active again. That's about it for me. Pass this on.
Mike, N7MW. I spent the bulk of my year dealing with treasury matters, corporation matters, trying to automate things that were previously manual. I think the one ham radio thing was, I can't remember, was actually at the end of 2022 or the very beginning of 2023, was I finally got CW on a roll, which only took me 47 years. And my most recent time has been writing up a book of knowledge for my successor as treasurer. And he promptly celebrated by keeling over and tearing his shoulder up. So I'll be sticking around for a little bit longer, at least to get the dues collection done and to initiate him into the mysteries of Quicken and all the other strange programs I use. Thanks.
Lee, KY7M, was a big year radio wise. And one of the highlights was at the very end of the year when I finished my last issue as editor of the National Contest Journal, finishing up 3 years and handing over the reins to my successor, John K3 Tango November, and he's already gotten his first issue out for 2024. So that was a big relief. Had a lot of fun doing it and had a lot of interaction with the contest community, a lot of the people that I've worked many times over the years. Many people wrote articles at my request, and others volunteered things. So it was fun, but a lot of work as well. So I also was continuing as a board member on the Northern CADXA Foundation, and also I serve as the newsletter editor So I did that 3 times last year, got those out. And the most recent one, I think, was the biggest one we've ever put out. It was at least 20, 25, 30 pages with many of the expeditions that the foundation had funded this past year. It's been interesting to be involved with that group because they make grants to de-expeditions. They're going out to places that are in need by DXers all over the world. And while they're the Northern Cal DX Foundation, we have board members from around the U.S. as well as members or people that participate in donating to the foundation from all over the world. So looking forward to continuing that this year. DX wise, actually one of the highlights was field day this last year because my wife's first cousin lives up in Colorado Springs. And when we first went up to visit Laura and her husband, Glenn, 5 years ago, when we went up, Glenn said, well, Alan is K0 Alpha Victor, and lives not that far away in Colorado Springs. Well, Laura and Glenn live on a top view that is forever to the east. And every time we've been up there,
Mike is cutting out.
In the air to see what I could do. So for field day this last year, I took my old Elecraft K2, decided I was going to try this time. Dipole antenna AA7A, one of his kits. I strung up some dipole contacts up there, and 5 watts does very well when you're looking at the horizon on the HF band. So that was a lot of fun. Continuing my pursuit of DX countries, and my goal this year is to see if I can get a little closer to 3,000 band countries. I'm at 29, so getting F29 is going to take some effort, but going to keep at it and see if I can get a little closer.
Steve, K7SP. Well, let's see. This year I joined the another club, the Octogenarians Club. Had some health issues, but glad to say that I beat those, I guess. Sort of got back, I guess, into politics. I'm on the board this year. But I've been on the air. I was off the air for 2 months because of things that broke down in my station right around the same time as I had my surgery. So that kept me off the air for about 2 months. But I'm back on now, primarily FT8 this year, low power. And I've been doing my best to try to give Rick W0RIC a run or try to catch up with him. I won't, but I'm doing pretty close, and I'm pretty proud of myself for doing it with basically 50 watts and an antenna pointed in one direction most of the time. So that's been my activities.
I don't know where to start. When you're younger, I've been licensed since 58. But when you're getting older and you do things that you have time, you've got money, but you don't have the resources you need to get something done. When I bought Bruce's place 20 years ago, that was cool. I had 5 towers. I had everything I wanted. Then one of the damn antennas fell down. And it took me 2 years to get that cleaned up. So I've just been biding my time and hoping that the weather will be nice next year and get some of this stuff fixed up. So good luck.
I'm Steve, N7TX. I had a 30-year career in IT, and that kept me working insane hours for many years. I retired at the beginning of last year, 2023. So retiring, I suddenly had all the spare time on my hands, and I gravitated back to ham radio, something I've been doing since I was a preteen. So anyway, so I had this opportunity come along, what was it, March or April, to be the secretary here. So I figured, well, might as well dive in head first. And got involved with the group here, and it's been a good time. And I built I live at an airport. I can't have towers. Really can't have much for antennas, but built my own end-fed half wave, and I'm back on HF for the first time in many years, and I've been having a whole lot of fun with that. Of course, I'm not very effective on the DX front, but Parks on the Air has been a whole lot of fun. I kind of got sucked and I think I've activated 8 parks in the last 30 days, just out having a good time with that. So what's been keeping me busy, I had to get past the 20 word per minute thing on CW, so I am trying to get involved in some contesting as mostly just an opportunity to I've just a couple contests already has had a significant effect on my skills in a positive way. So that's all. To continue to increase, do really well on Parks on the Air, and I don't know, DX is a bit of a loss for me with my end-fed half wave at 50 feet, but that's enough for me.
Yeah, very good, Steve. This is Tom in Q7R, down in the hinterland of Casa Grande. And I try to get out as often as I can to the shack. Last month or so, I haven't made it as many times as I'd like. I end up doing a lot of late night work, a lot of 30 and 60 meter. In fact, last night I had a nice contact with V51 on 60 meters. Kind of surprised me a little bit, but I actually had worked on once before. So otherwise, I just kind of plug along, trying to work DX. I guess one goal that I would like to make is try to get to the honor roll on digital. I'm about, I think, 8 or 10 countries short of the honor roll on digital mode. And I don't know if this is the place to mention this, but I have a number of items I'm going to put up for sale. If you know of somebody that wants a crank up tower, it's a tubular tilt over crank up. I never was able to get it in the ground, so that will be available. I guess that's about it for now. I'll turn it over to Bob.
Thanks, Tom. Bob, K7 VHM. I want to say, first of all, it was to be able to present the history of CADXA at the banquet in mid-December. It took a little while to get all my thoughts together, but hopefully I covered all the activities that we had been working with over the last 50 years. I can't guarantee I'll be here for another 50 years to do the 100 year, but I'm going to try like hell to do that. As far as DX activities, I got quite a pleasure to hear that 3Y0K is going to be looking to be active at the end of this year. I missed the previous Bouvet, couldn't hear him at all. He will be number 339 for my activity report. And I'm just hoping that I'll be able to hear him at the end of this year, making sure all my antennas are up. Zero activity on 6 meters. The conditions have been horrible. And I'm still not doing FT3, FT4, FT5, or FT8. Whatever the FT is, I still don't do it. But we'll see. It's going to be a good year for us, I think. 73, everybody. Thanks for being here.
I'm Jeff, K0UU, and this is my first time here. XYL and I bought a place just about 1.5 miles north Scottsdale, Paradise Valley. And she's W7OMA. That was our big event this year. We moved down. We're now snowbirds, thinking about how to segue into full time. Last year, the big accomplishment was building an 80-meter dipole, which I never put up. I got incentivized by Tony Rodabaugh, and I'm sure all of you have worked in 0NI if you've been on 160. And every year I ride a bicycle across Iowa with 20,000 other maniacs. And we, the 6 of us who are of a certain age and don't want to stay up all night, usually ride ahead. And we rode to Tony's antenna farm in Rippey, Iowa, and he was very gracious. And the next morning, about 5, just after it got light, he said, come on, get in my car. And we drove out through corn, and he stopped at a 40-acre interval in the middle of Iowa, and he said, what do you think? And I looked up and I said, I see a telephone poles as far as I can see. What am I looking at? And he says, that, my friend, is a rhombic. He had 30-some telephone poles that were used, installed, and it was unbelievable to see it. And he had basically a satellite dish. He's involved with satellite antennas, and he had a dish that would transmit it 2-point-some gigs back to his multi station. That was impressive. I will get that up. I'm 5 countries shy of 5-band DXCC on 80, and I have nothing at home in the suburban Twin Cities area that is resonant beneath 40. So that's my goal for this year, is to work those 5 countries. Some of them are silly. I don't think I have France confirmed, but I do have Glorioso on 80, which makes no sense. I was at W3 in the early 90s in Washington, and if none of you have operated out there, I'm here to tell you that there is an aluminum curtain between here and Europe and Africa. It's a chip shot. Inverted L, 100 watts, 95 countries on 80, and at least 70 on 160. Before I turn it to Bill, you probably all worked me at some point or another in the past 10 or 15 years. I was VR2UU, lived and worked in Hong Kong for a while, and then Mike Zero Hotel Zulu Yankee in the UK. And that's still active. And I was also, I had 10 or so other calls. I would schlep dive gear for W7OMA, my wife, and operate low power CW. So I was Grand Turk as VQ5RP. I was in Fiji as 3 Delta 2 Fox Juliet. Belize as Victor 31 Sierra Golf. Roatan as an HR9. I'm still licensed as Tango 88 Papa Whiskey in Palau, but that went south after COVID hit. So we were all prepared to go on a dive trip, and I was going to operate HF. The whole goal is everything in an old laptop bag. K2 is my go-to transceiver, battery power, and a 10-watt peak, and it gives you about 4 S units when you have a rare call. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bill.
Hi, my name is Bill Kuchis, N9EIV. I don't get to operate very much, but I tried to do a couple of cool things for the Scottsdale Club last year. We needed an antenna, so I grabbed my tri-bander off my tower over at my office, and I took it apart in a couple pieces and brought it over to where we had winter field day. And I had a interesting tower that we ended up using. We put together a tripod and anchored it into my bucket truck, and we were able to have a tri-bander at our winter field day last year instead of just throwing up a vertical. It actually worked really, really well, and I think we're probably going to do that again this year. The highlight of the whole winter field day was our barbecue, and we were just gonna have plain old burgers, and one of our members, Adam, he says, "Oh, no, let me run to the store." He goes to run to the store, and he got all kinds of stuff and just made our winter field day spectacular with the food. And we had bacon and jalapeno burgers, and they were actually really good. So anyway, that's all I had for winter field day. And as for operating, I'm pretty busy with work, and I try to get on the radio when I can, and that's probably about it for me.
I'm Joe, W8JH. For 2024, one of my list of things to get done was to join CADXA. So I'm off to a good start there. I am a resident of Ohio, but I've been able to work remote since before COVID was invented. So I've been coming out here with my wife for about, I would say, at least 10 years. We spend the winter out here, and then back to Ohio for the rest of the year. And it seemed to me that every DX country that I need has a DXpedition while we're out here. So with less than 20 countries that I need still, I was looking to figure out a way to do that after getting burnt on a few. So I've started building an off-grid ham shack that I've got. I think I sent in a couple pictures of that they might have here. So the WHJH, just two CCAN pictures in the middle of the desert there. So one of my goals was to build an off-grid station here. There's no power where it's at. I had a 20-foot CCAN dropped off there, and for power there, you can see there's a couple MPPT charge controllers there. So the one is for 12-volt lithium iron phosphate system, and the other's for a 48-volt lithium iron phosphate system. So I can run a inverter and power a KPA 500 amp, and occasionally a fan or something that I need there. And there's probably an exterior shot too. So the one thing that the CCAN always has on it is the butternut HF9V. So that's mainly for DXing. And of course, since I did that, nothing that I need is coming on the air while I'm out here. So hoping to have that open up. The 1 year that I was here was when South Sandwich and South Georgia, I think, were on. That was maybe 2016. I managed to work one of them with a KX3 with 10 watts and a telescoping whip on 20, but I missed South Sandwich. So I guess they're going to come around again in 25, and you can bet this will be running for then. The other thing that I did was a few years ago, I realized after nearly 50 years of being a ham, I'd never done CW or sideband on VHF and UHF. So the rest of the clutter in that picture is when I set up for the VHF, for the January VHF contest. And I was able to, last year, I actually won the Southwestern Division in the lowly single op 3-band category. So right from there, that hill that you can see behind the CCAN is between me and Phoenix, and it blocks my view. So I'm looking for different things to do this year so I can work more of the guys in Phoenix on the VHF contest. But that little thing out there between generating power and putting up and down antennas all the time, the ladder there is so that whenever I want to rotate an antenna, I have to climb up on the roof and spin around. Those masts are basically just stuck in sections of oil field service pipes that I bolted onto each corner of the CCAN. So it really is a little bit of a ragtag affair, but I am having fun out here for the time that we're here in the winter. So that's it.
My name is Paul. My call is WB0ZRD. Not a great CW call, but I've stuck with it. I'm mostly phone. Big event in last year was after almost 41 years of electrical engineering with AT&T, I retired. They made us an offer we couldn't refuse, like take it or leave it or get fired. So I took it. We moved down here. I'm from the Denver, Colorado area. I was fortunate. I had lots of aluminum up in the air there, and and did lots of DX, and it was a lot of fun. And now I'm moved into a house area where I'm controlled by an HOA, which I knew when we bought it. I mean, it's not like it was a surprise. So I'm experimenting with small antennas, trying to get something to work. The one I'm using now works amazingly well. In fact, I'm very surprised at how well it works. So anyway, that's kind of it. Oh, I'm new here. I was here in November, and I had actually planned on coming to your banquet, and my wife had other plans. So anyway, next. Man.
Thank you. It's Ron, WA0KDS, up in North Phoenix. Make this real short here. In beginning of the year, my truck decided it wanted a new engine, so it blew apart. And then July, my hottest day of the year, my air conditioning decided it needed replacing. And at the end of the year, my hot water heater crapped up. The good news is my radios kept working all year long. My antenna stayed up, and I did a couple new ones to get the 337. Other than that, next year I'll take it one day at a time.
I'm Gary, KC7CS. I was very active in FT8 from 2016 until last year, and then I decided that all my popcorn ceilings had to come out of my 2,400 square foot house. I've been doing that, repairing it, painting the walls. Then we decided new floors, so I ripped all my tile out and put in that pretty vinyl wood stuff like in here. And I'm almost done. The only room left is my ham shack, and I gotta tell you, it's not going to be easy. I see me taking 6 months to do that room, but when I'm done, it's going to be real nice.
And AA7A, I'm not sure where to begin. At the end, okay, I'm done. As I listen to all you guys talk, it's amazing number of different things we all do, but it's kind of a special year for me last year. Being the chairman of the Visalia convention was a unique experience. We started that effort in 2022. COVID was still the topic of the day, and we weren't even sure it was going to pan out or what. But we launched, walked off the edge of the cliff, and turned out just fabulous. We had it was a great show. Everybody really enjoyed it. Everybody had a smile on their face, and we walked away with a fair amount of proceeds from that effort. So it's just great fun. Also on the board of the Northern Cal, along with Lee, and I've been very involved in the development of the RIB system. Part of the RIB system I sort of invented for the Baker Island expedition in 2018. The having wireless operators on the boat that would use the stations on the island, and George A7JV was part of that expedition. He coupled that with his couple of his projects. He had this amplifier system. We called it AMP. It was the most complicated amplifier I ever saw in my entire life. None of us wanted to touch it, but he was able to make a kilowatt without having a generator chug at all. It was really an amazing amp. So he combined all of that technology and created the RIB program, which we launched last year. And we were involved in several expeditions on various islands in the Pacific. And so that was a really interesting adventure. The excitement was not only working the pileups and being a DX station, but it was also in how to get 30 or 40 people to share in a field day kind of effort. So there's a lot of social engineering, as long as all the other kinds of engineering involved in these kind of remote projects that involve lots of people. And throughout the year, I've been involved in the contest station DXing system that we have. The Top Band Club of Arizona group, this consortium of ours, has been working on the system out at Milt's farm down in Safford. And the amount of work that we put in there is really coming into fruition. We now have a very competitive multi-2 contest station out there, a absolute killer DX site. I mean, we can work stuff
no one else here is 160 and 80. And I've also pressed the limit on what you can do on 6 meters with the 6 meter moon bounce system I built out there. So it's turned out to be a real treasure. One of the big contacts I made this summer on the moon bounce station was working 3B8 on 6 meters, and that is almost at the antipode. I mean, it's just hard to imagine where that event was. That was a link up between F2 into the Mediterranean and then PEP down into the Indian Ocean. In all the years I've been on 6 meters, over 50 years, I've never heard of anything like that anywhere. So it was kind of cool to be able to snag that. In addition, I'm also on the board of directors for ARL, and that's a very interesting activity. Someone earlier mentioned something about being on politics, being on the CADXA board, but you have no idea about politics, capital P, on ARL. It's there's so many things that are going on. It's hard. I would take a whole program just to cover some of them. But all I can say is that there needs to be someone like me going to those meetings to make sure that they remember that this is about hams and for the relevant and active and in the good lights of the FCC. FCC would rather we all went away, but we need for them to license us so that we have to hold the frequencies we have. So some recent successes with the baud rate work that's finally done. And the change.
Audio is cutting out.
There's some real mic issues.
Yeah. The mic keeps cutting out.
Okay. Well, am I too loud or not loud enough? All right, we'll try mic number 2. Testing. Is this okay? Anybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So the recommendation we're making to the FCC is for them to not regulate anything in the ham band. Let us decide what modes, what bandwidths to use where on what parts of the spectrum, of our spectrum. So we're trying to promote for them to do less micromanagement, and we have our own authority to, as is the case in almost every other country in the world. So that's our basic message, which I shouldn't be contrary to what anybody else has to say, but you know, it is, everybody's got their own idea what's the right thing to do, but we're trying to move forward with that. So that's been a lot of my efforts this year, has been in those, you know, those 2 board, the board director roles and as well as this contest activity at home. The station at home is kind of flat. So I'm sitting there, it's not really making any more changes at home. All of my efforts are to make the remote sites really sparkle. And so that's where my fun is being able to from anywhere, access the radio stations and get them on the air and do some great stuff. So that's it from here.
This is Jim, KC1BB. It's been an interesting year for me. I spent most of my efforts filling in band slots on DX. So now I'm closing in on 200 countries on 10 meters and 12 meters, so, and 17. So maybe I'll get there this year. Maybe I won't. We'll see. One of the additions to the station is the 20-meter Foursquare that I got from Ned. I put that up in November, and it's got great pattern, by the way. I had one station on the opposite coming in at minus 14 dB on FT8, switched over to his side, and it came up to 5. So anyway, so a couple other notes. This past December, last couple of weeks of December, I was sitting at the radio and working 10 meters, and a VU4 station came up on FT8, which is not unusual until you consider that it was 8:30 in the morning local time, and it was long path. and I worked him on 100 watts. If that wasn't bad enough, the same station came up 2 days later on 12 meters, and I worked him with a vertical at 600 watts, about the same time of the morning. Those were kind of some interesting DX contacts. But speaking of 10 meters, coming into December, I looked up and I said, I've worked 39 zones on 10 meters. I need one more zone to work all 40. Now, Ned, I know, knows the answer to this, and Mike, KC7V, knows the answer to this, so please don't blurt it out. Who can guess the zone I needed to finish off the worked all zones on 10 meters?
2.
6.
Mexico.
I had not worked Mexico at all before December at all. So come the 10-meter contest, which I do every year. I set up the station, put up my contest beam for 10 meters, which is a 4-element Yagi that I designed. Put it up and had a problem with 2 different feed lines that I fed to it, so I finally put in a third one that finally worked. Brought that back to the station and had a good match, but then I could not get the amplifier to deliver more than 400 watts or so. Well, that turned out to be a loose nut behind the tune and load knobs that Ned helped me correct, mind you. Once again, Ned comes to the rescue here. So I finally got that, but unfortunately I didn't get that solved until after the 10-meter contest. So I was working just 100 watts low power for the contest, and I didn't do all that much, but I finally worked one Mexican station to finish it off. So this is the first time that I can recall that I've ever worked all 40 zones on one band in 1 year. And with that, I turn it back over to our chairman.
Well, you all know I can talk forever, so I'm not going to do that. But if we could go to our Zoom folks, Mike K7ING, you want to start it off, please, sir?
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
I hear you.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm Mike K7ING, South Tempe. A pretty modest station here. I don't get too excited about chasing DX. If I happen to stumble across something, I'll try to work them. But I don't go pursue a whole bunch of DX and stuff. But if I'll do mostly CW. The radio came with a microphone 20 years ago. I don't know where the hell it is. I haven't seen it for 20 years. So I do mostly CW. If I'm down in the shack, paying bills or doing something online, I usually have the HF radio on, tuned to a SOTA CW calling frequency. And I also have FT4, FT8 up and running, find a band that's nearly dead, calling CQ. And Monday, it was funny because I like an extremely coincidental thing and almost spooky scary. I've known Mike Wright for years, N7MW over there. We worked for Motorola for years and years. And turns out, I guess we both got our novice tickets from the same guy, Mr. McGurr, who's the high school science teacher over at Scottsdale High School in 1971. So we've known each other for a long time. But so Monday, I'm sitting here paying bills and had FT4 going and listened to the calling frequencies for SOTA. And Mike's note about paying dues showed up. So all right, so I started a little email dialogue with Mike, going back and forth. Mike spells his name WRIGHT, like that. And so after we're done, I look over at the FT4 screen and I just worked a guy WR1 GHT. So talk about coincidental. That kind of blew me away. So I figure this is going to be a lucky week or a lucky year for ham radio for me. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Bob, NA7RH, you want to pick it up?
Are you able to hear me okay?
Hear you fine, you 59K.
Okay. This is Bob, NA7RH. Well, I've had a pretty good year on the ham radio for sure. Back in 21 and 22, I played in the what do you call it? I can't think of it. The normal contest that we have every year, and for the 2 years, I got almost exactly the same results. So I wanted to do something different this year, and I've just been chasing new countries on new bands, trying to get the band slots up, and in that endeavor, so far this year, or last year, I got 13 new ones, which was a really big step for me. I've been going along for years and years with only getting 2 or 3 or 4 new ones every year. So I'm pretty happy with that from last year. There were a lot of the expeditions for countries that I did not have, and they were fairly well able to be worked. I got the VU7, but I missed the VU4, so I was a little disappointed in that. But the VU7 and everything I'm working is just wire dipoles and low power, so I don't have any real assets for working these guys. But I did work the VU7 right at gray line when he popped out of the noise about 10 or 15 dB just for a few minutes, and so those are satisfying contacts for sure. But that's about all I've been doing is trying to work on the totals there. And let's see. The XCC challenge is only up to about 1,444, and my goal for next year is to get over 1,500 DXCC challenge, just working low power and wire antennas. That's about it.
Okay, thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. Mr. Mike, KC7 Victor.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. 23 was, I'd call it a very radioactive year for me. It really started in mid-2022 when Ned approached me and asked me to put together the programs for the 2023 International Visalia DX Convention, and I agreed. So that was a, I don't know, 9 or 10 month process, it seems like, by the time we got it all done. A lot of scrambling around in Visalia, but it was a fun time. And so I appreciate his support on that. I got very involved in the CWTs in 2023. CWT is a 1 hour CW operating event. They're every Wednesday at 13 Zulu, 19 Zulu, and 0300 Zulu for the next day. I think operated, well, I know I've done more than 100 of them this year. I did the Visalia DX convention. And at that convention, I was approached by Dick Norton and N6AA, who's the director of the division. He asked me, and I accepted to take on the role as the Southwestern Division Contest Advisory Committee representative for the ARRL. So I'm doing that now. In May, I attended Dayton and had a great time there. And then in July, I went to WRTC in Bologna, Italy. This was my 5th time as a referee. I had 2 German fellows, I think DM9 Echo Echo and DM5 Echo Echo were my operators, and they finished 6th out of the 52 or 56 two-man team competition. So that was quite a lot of fun. A little bit different this year. It was held in a bed or like a B&B, a bed and breakfast place, versus tents in Germany, and it looks like it'll be back to tents again in the UK in 2026. But that was a great time. I'd been to Italy before, so it wasn't a new DX counter. Like Lee, I filled in some band slots over the year. I'm still chasing that 3,000 mark like he is. And just activity wise, I did 2 contests from N6WIN or ND7K Superstation, the ARRL CW, which we set a new W7 record, and the CQ Worldwide CW, where we set a new Zone 3 record. That was multi-single. The ARRL was multi-2. I did a couple of contests with Bob, K8IA, the RIDI Roundup, which we'll do again this coming weekend as a multi-single. And when we did the WPX CW contest with Bob and W9CF Kevin and I remoting into his station. Overall, talk about a lot of queues. I made 39,457 QSOs this last year, just from home, not counting those other contests. And I still don't have an antenna over 32 feet in the air. Everything's fixed. I do have some Moxons at 24 feet on 20, or they're old booms, antenna booms that are supporting them. I just have ropes to go out and turn them. So the only antennas that turn are the 6M7J HV at about 23 feet that's rotatable, and a 4-element antenna I put up last year at 20 feet, specifically for the 10-meter contest, and just get back on 10 so I didn't miss too much during the new cycle. So it was a great year. 2024, I'm hoping to get the tower that's up at 60 feet is eventually going to go to 80 feet. And I got Yagis on the ground, a 4-element 40, a 10-element 6-meter Yagi, and some other things that still got to go up. And I'm hoping to add a second tower down the road, so I can do more SO2R, and I'm practicing the 2B SIQ, interleaving QSOs between 2 radios. It's a lot of fun. Takes a lot of skill, a lot of brain power, which I don't have as much as I used to. So I do what I can. But it was a fun year, and hopefully 2024 will be much the same.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Next is going to be Mr. CW, NA2U, Fred. And you may not understand this, but yo, dude, you're up.
Dude, see if my voice holds up for this. Like I said, I got COVID. I really was disappointed we weren't able to make the banquet this year, but we left for Christmas in Europe the day after the banquet, and one of my rewards when we got home was coming down with this thing. So maybe we'll make that next year. My highlight of the year included VU7 whiskey. The first time I've ever heard the country. All of these years, I started chasing DX in '67 and worked VU7W and got the, which was the last country I needed for top of the honor roll. And after all, that's kind of why we're here as a club. So that was my my major accomplishment for the year. My DX challenge, I have zoomed all the way up to 1997, and my one of my goals for 2024 is to get to 2000. I'm fairly confident. This is a picture of my Italian brother from another mother, Kilo Hotel 6 Zulu Mike. This is Max, and Max owns the place where I go to operate in Hawaii. And my plans are to operate his station remotely for ARRL CW coming up. And then Liz and I are going to spend a week in Waikiki drinking Mai Tais. Then I'll go to his place and do the phone contest. This past year, I spent 19 days in a row at Max's. That's the longest I've stayed in one shot, and I think it's the longest anybody has stayed at Max's in a in a continuous stay. I don't know why I never tried 6 meters from Hawaii before, but I did do 6 meters this past year. And on February the 22nd, I had quite an opening. And I worked about 8 guys back here that I knew, including Lee KY7M, Steve K7SP, and Ned AA7A. And I mean, I was just thrilled. We had an opening, and I knew all these guys, and it was really a lot of fun. I ended up with 29 countries confirmed on 6. So I'm not sure that's going to get much better, but that was quite an accomplishment for me. Did some other things. Fortunately, I am in the Top Band Club there, operating remotely, because I haven't had my station on the air in probably 3 years. I tried to hook it up the other day and something's wrong. I don't know what it is, but I'm not in a hurry to chase it down. I'm not as aggressive operating these days as some of my fellow club members there, but still having a lot of fun. And I usually work the CWT contests, if you want to call them that, on Wednesdays at 1900. So getting old, but still having fun. There you go, John.
Thank you, Fred. I appreciate it. And you can all be curious about the dude thing for a while.
Yeah, and let me just say one thing. Work me in ARRLs and spot me. Thank you very much.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Wes, N7WS, you're up, sir.
Okay, you hear me? Do you hear me okay?
Yes.
We do.
Okay, very good. Yeah, Wes, N7WS. I'm the ugly stepchild down in Tucson. I've actually been a member of this club for a long time, on and off, but seldom get to the meetings, unfortunately. Wish I got to more of them. My sole focus for my 65 years of ham radio, other than some experimental stuff, has been DXCC. I've never got involved with worked all zones or challenge or any of that stuff. I'm one away from top of the honor roll. I need Glorioso. I missed that one back when, due to work and travel and that kind of stuff. Hopefully FT4 GL will make it on this March when they say they might. We'll see. As I said, I've been licensed 65 years and always operated right here from Tucson. My station is very modest. I'm in a little 6x7 foot closet. Basically, the whole station runs on 120 volt, 20 amp circuit. However, I have 9-band DXCC. If you count 60 meters, I have 10-band DXCC. But I'm located about 300 meters from Saguaro National Park, and the county down here has a buffer zone that's designed to protect the character of the park, and consequently, I'm self-imposing restrictions on myself. My tower is only 45 feet tall. I have a small, basically 2-element tri-bander beam. I tune it with a tuner on 17 and 12, and I have a single vertical for 160 if I choose, or if I disable the top wire, then I can tune it on some of the other bands. So I've been on years ago. Ned and I were I'll say competitors on 2 meters. He went on to work the digital stuff. I wound up getting divorced and got off the air for a number of years. And by the time I got back on, everything had gone digital, and I'm not a digital guy. So I stalled at 2 meter EME at about, I don't know, 16 or 18 countries, something like that. So that's my deal. And looking forward to the new year. Interested to see what the competitive situation is with the other guys with the club competition. Like I say, it's difficult from down here and a modest station, but we try to hang in there. So 73, Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you, Wes. I appreciate it. 73, my friend. Tommy, Whiskey Echo 7 Kilo, you're up next. Echo 7 Kilo, K7 UGA. Evan, KK7 MGL. You've had an eventful year, sir. You are up next.
This April I got my technician license and I went to Visalia and that was a lot of fun and I won my first radio there, the 7300. And then in the summer I got my general license and I used that when we went to the La Paz County and did our activation there. So yeah. That's it.
It's not a key. Thank you, Evan. I appreciate that. Are you all finished up, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ingrid, W7ISG, and Reinhard, K7RGG. You're up, folks.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year.
Good evening. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Sorry.
You also.
Yeah, sorry we couldn't be there. This year was another interesting year for us. Ingrid, as you can see her on the picture right now, she got really involved with W1AW/7. She worked 2,500 plus contacts for that. And then we went on to Europe and to the Funk Talk in Kassel, as you can see here, not only enjoying radio, but also ice cream. It was a lot of fun. It's one of the larger ham meetings over there. We then continued on. Yeah, we saw the headquarters of the DARC, German Amateur Radio Club. Ingrid had not been there before. It's a very good place, very fun place.
Great tour.
Yeah, probably see on the next picture the place where they sort the QSL cards. Actually, we have a real good video of that, and it's fun to watch them how they do it because they still believe in QSLing. As you know, Germans send QSL for every QSO. And then we went on to, oh yeah, at the same Funk Talk, there was various presentations, including this one, where they talked to the South America, the Antarctica station, DP1 POL, over Oscar 100, which is a geostationary satellite. And you can see even the kids were really very interested in that. There's a little girl sitting there with a DARC balloon. So that was a lot of fun just to see that. We went then on to a different ham meeting. There was the so-called convened meeting at an 888-year-old convent. And sure enough, we saw our old friend Baldo, DJ6SI there. He operated the local special station, was on the radio all the time, doing CW. What else do we have here? Of course, we always try to schedule our trips so that we can participate in as many Hamfests as possible. As you know, I'm a car checker and a lot of people expect me to be there. This is the one in Flagstaff, the Flagstaff Hamfest, and Ingrid was there, I think, cashing or taking people's entry fees. We went on to this. 60. Was it before or after? It was the Route 66 special event, and Ingrid worked another, I think, 1,200 or so QSOs. That is something that you guys may want to do and get out of town and go up to the mountains and cool off.
It's beautiful out there camping.
Yeah. Overall, BOTA volunteers on the air played a big role in our lives this year. As you can imagine, Ingrid is dominating the ham shack, and I'm, as always, in her shadow. And the only thing that I need is North Korea right now, so she can gladly sit there in the shack. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ingrid. Thank you, Reinhard. I appreciate it. Okay, so I'm up and I can talk forever. Not going to do that. Had a very exciting year radio wise. I worked a lot of contacts with a special station. It's called Charlie Alpha Delta X-Ray Alpha, I think. And I actually got on and used RF during field day, made a couple of hundred contacts, and that's it. So that's it. We're at 8:15. Let's do a 10-minute break and then come back. You can bring your water and your cookies with you. Just please don't make a big mess. And then we'll go over the business portion, which should take all of about 15 minutes max.
Yeah, I have greetings.
Lee has greetings.
I had to step out. I had a unusual phone call second time, and I took it, and it's Rick, W1 Hotel Zulu, who was on a cruise ship going through a Chinese flotilla of guarding ships going into Hong Kong on the way from Vietnam into China. That's his last stop. But Rick said to pass along 73s to the gang. Anyway, that was an unexpected maritime mobile contact.
Thank you, Lee. I appreciate it. Cookies, we have Oreos tonight. Don't fight too much. And bottled waters are in the ice chest. About 10 minutes or so, come back. I'll bang on the gavel and we'll fire up for a short business meeting. Thanks, everybody.